didn't imagine it. Something shifted between you and that person, and it wasn't random. The connection that once felt so natural suddenly became strained. Conversations that used to flow effortlessly turned into awkward silences. Plans that seemed certain began falling apart for no clear reason. They changed, the connection broke, and it hurt more than you expected. But what you felt wasn't rejection. It was intervention. God didn't allow it to continue because He saw what it would have cost you. By the end of this message, you'll understand why God stepped in when He did, and why His protection often looks like loss before it looks like love. There's a pain that comes with watching someone slip away from your life, especially when you can't understand why. You replay conversations, searching for the moment things changed. You wonder if you said something wrong, if you pushed too hard, or if you weren't enough to make them stay. The questions circle endlessly in your mind. Why did they become distant? Why did opportunities to reconnect keep falling through? Why did every attempt to restore what you had feel like trying to hold water in your hands? You didn't cause this. You weren't asking for too much. You didn't miss a sign that could have changed everything. What you experienced wasn't the result of your failure or inadequacy. It was the result of divine intervention. God was moving behind the scenes, orchestrating circumstances that your heart couldn't understand but your spirit needed. The confusion you felt wasn't because you lacked wisdom. It was because God was protecting you from something your emotions couldn't see clearly. When someone begins to pull away from your life, especially someone you care deeply about, it creates a unique kind of heartache. It's not the sharp pain of a sudden ending, but the slow ache of watching something precious fade. You find yourself reaching for connection that no longer exists. You find yourself hoping for restoration that never comes. And in those moments, you feel forgotten, overlooked, or abandoned. But this is where most people misunderstand what God was doing. God separates to protect. He removes access to prevent future harm. He intervenes when emotional attachment clouds the judgment He has given you. What feels like loss is actually love in action. What appears to be rejection is actually redirection towards something better. God saw what you couldn't see. He knew what that relationship would cost you if it continued. He understood the price you would pay for staying connected to someone who wasn't meant to walk the path He has planned for your life. Think of it this way. When a skilled surgeon removes something from the body, the patient experiences pain during recovery. But that pain isn't punishment. It's the evidence that something harmful has been taken away and healing has begun. God operates on hearts the same way. He removes what threatens your spiritual health, even when that removal causes temporary pain. The separation you experienced wasn't God taking something good from you. It was God taking something off you that would have weighed you down. He blocked what your heart couldn't release on its own. Sometimes we become so emotionally invested in a person or relationship that we lose the ability to see clearly. We make excuses for behavior that doesn't align with God's best for us. We minimize red flags because we don't want to lose the connection. We compromise our peace because we're afraid of being alone. But God loves you too much to let you sacrifice your well-being for the comfort of familiar dysfunction. When God closes a door, He's not just ending something. He's protecting something, your peace, your purpose, your future, your capacity to receive what He actually has planned for you. Separation was mercy, not loss. Distance was preservation, not punishment. The barriers that appeared between you and that person weren't obstacles to overcome. They were boundaries God established for your protection. God didn't take something from you. He took something off you. The burden of trying to make something work that was never meant to succeed. The weight of carrying a relationship that was draining your spiritual strength. The confusion of wondering why you felt anxious around someone you cared about. The exhaustion of giving more than you were receiving. The frustration of feeling like you were fighting for something alone. Your peace left because God was protecting it from being completely destroyed. Your anxiety wasn't a weakness or a sign that you weren't trusting God enough. It was a warning system, alerting you to spiritual danger that your mind couldn't identify but your spirit could sense. When you couldn't sleep after certain conversations, When you felt drained after spending time together, when something inside you felt unsettled even during good moments, that wasn't your imagination. That was God's protection working through your awareness. Peace disappears around the wrong person because God designed your spirit to recognize what doesn't belong in your life. Just as your body rejects what would harm it, your spirit reacts to relationships that threaten your spiritual health. The discomfort you felt wasn't a sign that you needed to try harder. It was a sign that God was preparing to move that person out of your path. Protection often feels painful at first because our emotions are focused on what we're losing rather than what we're being saved from. We see the empty space where someone used to be instead of seeing the freedom that space creates for God to fill it with something better. We feel the absence instead of recognizing the peace that slowly returns when toxic dynamics are removed from our lives. This is where God's protection becomes clear. In the days and weeks following separation, you begin to notice things you couldn't see before. The constant tension in your chest starts to ease. You sleep better. You think more clearly. Decisions become easier to make. You remember who you were before that relationship consumed so much of your emotional energy. The confusion lifts and clarity returns. You realize that what felt like rejection was actually rescue. What seemed like abandonment was actually deliverance. What appeared to be God ignoring your prayers was actually God answering them in the wisest way possible. Sometimes the answer to, "Lord, help this relationship," is, "Lord, help you out of this relationship." God doesn't remove what's meant to stay. He doesn't separate what He has joined together for your good. When He orchestrates distance between you and someone else, it's because that proximity was preventing you from receiving what He actually wants to give you. What left wasn't your future. It was the obstacle standing between you and your future. The person God removed from your life wasn't your missing piece. They were the barrier preventing you from becoming whole in Him. They weren't your answered prayer. They were the distraction keeping you from recognizing the real answer when it arrives. They weren't your blessing. They were the test you needed to pass before receiving the actual blessing God has prepared. God saw the trajectory that relationship was heading toward, and He changed the course before it could destroy what He was building in you. He didn't wait for you to figure it out on your own because He knew that by the time the damage became obvious, it might have been too late to undo. Your heart was too invested to see clearly. Your emotions were too attached to make rational decisions. So He made the decision for you. This is how divine protection works. God doesn't always remove people dramatically or obviously. Sometimes He simply makes it impossible for toxic connections to flourish. He creates circumstances where unhealthy relationships naturally dissolve. He orchestrates events that reveal people's true character before you become more deeply entangled. He allows situations to unfold that show you exactly who someone is when they think no one is watching. What you experienced wasn't coincidence. Those missed calls that never got returned weren't accidents. The plans that kept falling through weren't bad luck. The conversations that suddenly became surface level weren't because you ran out of things to talk about. God was systematically dismantling a connection that would have cost you more than you realized. God saw the trajectory that relationship was heading toward, and He changed the course before it could destroy what He was building in you. He didn't wait for you to figure it out on your own because He knew that by the time the damage became obvious, it might have been too late to undo. Your heart was too invested to see clearly. Your emotions were too attached to make rational decisions. So He made the decision for you. This is how divine protection works. God doesn't always remove people dramatically or obviously. Sometimes He simply makes it impossible for toxic connections to flourish. He creates circumstances where unhealthy relationships naturally dissolve. He orchestrates events that reveal people's true character before you become more deeply entangled. He allows situations to unfold that show you exactly who someone is when they think no one is watching. What you experienced wasn't coincidence. Those missed calls that never got returned weren't accidents. The plans that kept falling through weren't bad luck. The conversations that suddenly became surface level weren't because you ran out of things to talk about. God was systematically dismantling a connection that would have cost you more than you realized. He saw the patterns you couldn't see. He recognized the red flags your emotions dismissed. He understood the long-term consequences that your hope kept minimizing. And because he loves you too much to watch you sacrifice your peace for the illusion of connection, he intervened. Not to hurt you, but to heal you before the wound became too deep to recover from. Today, if you're looking back at someone who was removed from your life, don't mourn what you lost. Celebrate what you were saved from. God didn't take them away to punish you. He saved you from them to protect you. Trust His timing, trust His wisdom, and trust that what He has planned for your future is worth every moment of confusion you endured while He was clearing the path.